Hello everyone and welcome to Star Wars on High. Thank you for stopping by. We are back with a new review. As the channel grows, I really want to cater to the fans of the original Star Wars Expanded Universe. And I figured the best way would be to start reviewing Legends stories, and thanks to the Essential Legends collection, I've been able to have a good idea where to start. I started with Darth Maul Shadowhunter, mainly because the new audiobook was narrated by Sam Witwer, and that instantly caught my attention. Having voice actors narrate Star Wars stories should be done more often, as it perfectly helps the listener engage with the story. For example, The Queen's Trilogy by E.K. Johnston is narrated by Catherine Tabor, who voices Padme in the Clone Wars, so it's a perfect fit. But back to Maul. If you look at the Legends timeline, we go from Shadowhunter to Maul Lockdown, then right to Episode 1. This is one of my favorite times in the Star Wars universe because we get an idea of everything that was taking place beforehand and how Palpatine's plan was being built up behind the scenes. The story itself was very fun and very careful, and I'll explain what I mean by careful here in a second. But when Palpatine calls a meeting with Newt Gunray and his council, we learn that one of the Neimoidians is missing. Newt Gunray plays it off by saying that he's fallen ill, but Palpatine instantly suggests there's deceit. His suggestion is correct, as this Neimoidian takes information about Palpatine's plan to Coruscant in hopes of selling it to the highest bidder. So Palpatine sends his faithful apprentice, Darth Maul, to deal with the Neimoidian and the man who buys the information. While at the same time on Coruscant, a Jedi known as Darsha is on a mission that will grant her the rank of Jedi Knight when completed. But when her mission crosses paths with Maul, her trial becomes much more complicated. This is why I say it's careful. The story takes place so close to the Phantom Menace. The Jedi Council is made aware of the Sith after Qui-Gon Jinn's encounter with Maul on Tatooine. So how can this story get away with Maul fighting Jedi directly on Coruscant? It's tricky, but it works as most of the story takes place in the underside of Coruscant, down in the maze of lower levels and sewer systems, and it's honestly the perfect location for this type of story. It gives Maul free reign to be a Sith without anyone realizing what he is. Everything that happens in the lower levels never makes its way up to the surface. The pacing of the story is done very fast, and there's a lot of action. A majority of the book is just a chase scene with Darsha and Lauren Pavan, the man who bought the information from the Neimoidian, running from Maul's destructive path. The best and worst comparison I could make is Jason Takes Manhattan. I say this because the characters are running through one of the biggest cities in the world, being chased by a giant with a hatchet, and no one really seems to care or want to do anything to help them. On Coruscant, you have no chance of getting help if you asked for it, because everyone living in the lower levels of Coruscant has their own problems and they don't want to add to that list by getting involved with someone else. And it gives what I see as an inescapable feeling of doom as we come to know these characters and know exactly what will happen to them by the end. I was definitely worried when Jedi were brought into the mix because it would have directly clashed with Episode 1, but there were so many twists and turns that prevented anyone from hailing the Jedi Council to inform them of that threat, which I absolutely loved. They're so close to safety, yet they can't seem to reach it. It's such a real tragedy, and it builds a lot of tension. But the star of the show, at least from the audiobook point of view, is Sam Witwer. This is such a perfect performance. Hearing Sam do both Maul and Palpatine was a treat, as he's already played both of those characters. And unlike most audiobooks where the author will just do a simple professional voice for the descriptive text, Sam will use the voice of the character that the text is describing. So if there's a paragraph that's explaining Palpatine's actions, he will read it like Palpatine. It's the worst impression you've ever heard, but it's still so engaging and really grabs my attention. This book was an easy 10 out of 10, and I would take this as honorary canon. It's a fun story full of thrills, and it has opened up a window for me to jump to a series of Legends books that I've been curious about for years. That, of course, being the Coruscant Nights trilogy. I never knew that these books were actually related to each other, but I love that I know that now, and I'm currently looking to buy these books. But what were your feelings on Darth Maul Shadowhunter? Did you read the book when it was first published in 2001, or have you only recently picked it up? Let us know all of your thoughts in the comments below. As always, thank you so much for sticking around, and we hope to see you again very soon.